Hi, welcome to a special edition of the Cinema 9 podcast. It's a Saturday afternoon edition for those of you watching live, and for the podcast, you're already wondering, hey, it's Saturday and I haven't got my podcast in the feed. So that's my fault. I had some crises going down in my butthole, but hopefully things will be okay and we'll move forward and we'll have a good time. Right, Travis?
Do you want to explain briefly why you just mentioned your butthole, or?
Yeah, sure. I had supposed to have a colonoscopy on Friday, so I was prepping Thursday night by taking the stuff to clear everything out, and everything was going good. I was pooping, a lot of poop, and suddenly things took a turn for the worse. I had this terrible headache, and I started throwing up a ton, but I didn't have anything to puke because my stomach was empty, and it was awful. So we had to reschedule. Apparently, they're going to give me some anti-nausea meds for next time. So that delayed the show, and I apologize, but now we're here. I mean, it's a beautiful Saturday. I kind of feel like
nice little Saturday.
It is a nice little Saturday. So what's going on in Hazel Park?
Well, I figured I usually have a beer. I figured why not have an early beer to see you guys and to discuss 2001's epic comedy Joe Dirt, and not much going on here. Nice day. I've been doing some cleaning. That's it. What's going on?
Okay. Eric Brantrum, Griffith, Indiana, Saturday afternoon. It's 2:00 your time. What's going on over there?
Went to the dentist a couple of days ago, and they literally told me that they were going to pull out the Cavitron. I had no clue what the Cavitron was. They didn't really show it to me. They just said that we're going to give you the Cavitron, and like something started happening to my teeth. It was a terrifying experience, so I probably wouldn't have been ready to do the show after that dental appointment anyway. So glad to be with you today.
I got to tell you, I had a root canal, as I mentioned, I was going to have on Monday, and it was bad because it was like infected. So like I screamed like out loud, like a grown man screaming in the dentist's office. So it was pretty bad. And as I was screaming, I thought to myself, I'd rather be watching I Heart Huckabee.
I was wondering about that.
Wait a minute. Don't they like give you pain numbing up or something?
They numb it up, but it was the shot itself. Since they don't usually do it when it's infected, but like I'd been in and out. There was like a blizzard. But it's a long story. Anyways, suffice to say that they did it when they don't usually do it, and it hurt like fucking hell when that shot went in. So it's just. And then I had a CT scan. It's just as Eric said, it's just been like a time of procedures. We all just turned 40, and our bodies are just winding down like dying robots.
Well, my teeth are in pretty good shape as far as I know.
That's good. I grinded a tooth to death. I had no cavity. I just grinded it to death. That's why I had to get a root canal. Yeah. So I gotta get like a bit while I sleep or whatever.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll wake up and I'll catch myself like doing that. I'm like, whoa, weird. Yeah. Why does that happen? Yeah.
Apparently it can cause real damage. So.
Oh, yeah, it definitely can. But why does it happen? That's the curiosity. Send us an email, cinema9pod@protonmail.com. What do you know about grinding your teeth?
What the fuck is the Cavitron, too? Send us photos.
Yeah, and Travis is wearing a shirt that says Dr. Teeth.
Oh, yeah, that was
a dental episode.
Wow. This is very
dental-centric.
Very canine heavy. A very special dental-centric episode.
Bicuspid heavy.
At least we moved on from buttholes.
Yeah, well, I mean...
Teeth and buttholes, episode 49.
I was...
Let's talk sphincters today, guys.
It's not like I had an urgency to get one. I just thought, people will die younger of colon cancer these days. So I know some people, like, seriously, that have passed on way too young from this stuff because our American diet is horrible. It's so terrible. So, and I'm the master of trash. I've eaten every piece of trash from East Coast to West Coast, up and down this country. I've had it all. You name a fast food joint, I'm pretty sure I've had it. From Jack in the Box on the West Coast all the way over to
Carl's Jr.,
Chick-fil-A. Carl's Jr., I've had it. Yeah. Custard? I've had Culver's, of course.
Culver's.
Yeah,
that's what I was trying. Yeah. That's what I was going for.
I can't think of one. I've even had Whataburger in Texas. So.
Wow, look at you. So storied.
Well, that's why my butthole is quite storied. So, anywho, check us out online. We have all of our shows on the YouTube channel. You can go check that out. The bio, we'll throw I don't even know if we have the link in a bio. I'll throw the link in our Twitter bio. So if you ever want to do that, you can find all of our past episodes. And of course, 5-star review with the 5-star rating would be really nice. We'd enjoy that. We've had some great responses from some good people, but the more the merrier. So thank you very much. We appreciate your support, and that's that's all the news that's fit to print. Why don't we get into our quarantine viewing picks for this week? You got a couple extra days here, so maybe you squeezed in a few more movies, Travis. What do you say?
I watched a lot of movies. I did. I watched a lot. I got a lot to talk about. But I'm gonna try and get through this quickly because I don't want to, take forever. From 2006, I watched The Night Listener. I'm still kind of working my way through Robin Williams pictures, and if you like, he did a run of kind of independent features towards the end of his career that were all pretty quiet and understated kind of films. This was worth checking out. Not going to blow you away, but it's worth checking out. I watched Coming to America 2 or Coming to America.
Oh boy, haven't seen it yet. Just for the record,
I'm not gonna no spoilers, but big slump in the middle. But for a movie that's 30 years after the sequel, like you can't expect much. It's rare that they're any good, and this entertained me. I laughed. Is it as good as the first one? Fuck no. Who would expect it to be? I checked out The United States versus Billie Holiday because what's her name? Adra Day has been nominated and for or won the Golden Globe for it, and there's talk, Oscar buzz, and her performance was fantastic. I didn't dig the movie at all. Like I felt like and I felt bad not liking it because I feel like the whole the way that the United States government went after black performers like Josephine Baker and and Billie Holiday and Jack Johnson, all kinds of people. It deserves telling, but they got hung up on this like fantasy romance aspect that may or may not have happened in her life. I'm just like, why are you fucking waylaying into this? Anyway, so I don't know. I think that my opinion might be in the minority on that one, but good performance. Mike, have you seen Hope Springs with Meryl Streep and Tommy Lee Jones?
I have not.
This felt like a real Mike movie because it's them two, and it's about geriatric love and sex. So it just seemed like something that you would like. Very Nancy Myers,
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you think that you've seen Tommy Lee Jones play a crusty, mean old fuck, you've never seen him. Like I almost turned the movie off. It was almost unwatchable. It was just like, Jesus Christ, this fucking guy. Like it was hard to watch.
So crusty.
Yeah,
Jesus.
very crusty.
I'm in.
Yeah, you might like it. Eric, have you seen Penguin Bloom with your favorite Naomi Watts?
I've never even heard of it, but I'm there.
It just came out this year. It's on Netflix. It's a true story, beautifully shot. Some of the best ocean shots I've ever seen, but it's a really inspiring true story about a woman who's paralyzed from the waist down, who was like a surfer or something, like very active woman, and her family takes in this injured magpie, and it's just a really beautiful little family story. Definitely check it out.
What's a magpie?
It's a bird.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not a penguin. The bird's called Penguin, just to confuse the fuck out of you. But I guess it's a true story, so they named the bird Penguin. Anyways,
yeah, come on, Eric.
Sorry.
Those movies like The Shack and God Is Not Dead and Five People to Meet in Heaven, like they're all just kind of like these independent Christy films that have almost a budget. Well, imagine watching one of those in disguise. You didn't know what you were getting into because it stars Luke Wilson and it's directed by Mark Pellington. I'm talking about a movie called Henry Poole Is Here. If you are into religious stuff and you feel like Hollywood doesn't do that, then check that one out. Otherwise, holy shit, this fucking movie. It was a lot of acoustic jams and Luke Wilson staring at things ponderously. It was really absurd.
Ponderous, man. Fucking ponderous.
It was something else, man. Walk, Don't Run to Henry Poole Is Here.
Is that like Master of Disguise, by the
way? Wait, what? I'm completely lost.
Oh, I thought you said the word disguise, so I said, is that like the Master of Disguise?
I didn't say the word disguise. I don't think I did. Did I? I don't know.
I thought someone was disguised as something. I don't know.
No, the film is disguised. I mean, the film is in disguise. I'm glad you're... All right. Anyway, Derek Fern's suggestion, 3 Cushion fan, no lice, no talk, 10:30, some farts. Checked out Ava from 2020, very entertaining. Cage of Files. I watched 2 really bad Nick Cage movies, Vengeance, A Love Story, and Trespass, which turns out was directed by Joel Schumacher, officially the worst Schumacher film that he did. Just really, really bad. And in a 2011 role for Ben Mendelsohn as a villain. So even he could not save this turd. And then last but not least, Mike, have you seen Citizen Ruth, the first Alexander Payne film?
I have.
You have. What'd you think of that?
I thought it was not. It was like you could tell that it's his first main kind of feature because it's not ideal Payne. It kind of drags a little bit, but it has its moments of comedy where I can see the bright light of his future growing. I guess is a simple way to put it.
The cover box always turned me off because it's like Laura Dern, like she's dressed like Statue of Liberty, all just like super, and like I guess they weren't going to put her with her face streaked in silver from huffing like paint, which would have been more appropriate to the movie, or maybe just like had the word abortion somewhere in the title. Like this is the comedy fodder that is Citizen Ruth, huffing and abortions. So if you haven't seen it, check it out.
It's dark. It's fairly dark. It's a dark comedy style. Yeah.
A little dark, but it's a big time Kurtwood Smith. So I know you probably appreciate it.
Love Kurtwood, yes.
And my big recommendation for the week would be Beneath a Sea of Lights, starring what's his name, Barkhad Abdi from Captain Phillips. Some people might remember him as I'm the Captain Now guy, but he's also an Academy Award nominated actor. I'm going to write up a review on that for Instagram later, but I watched that this afternoon. I really liked it.
Wow. I wondered if that guy would get work. I mean, because he is Somali, and they cast him because he was in Minnesota, and there's a big Somali population there, and I just hadn't seen him in a lot of main stuff recently, so that's good to know. I'm glad that he's getting some work.
Yeah, it's worth seeing.
Yay!
It's on Showtime too.
Oh, Showtime. Okay, Eric Branstrom. I've been looking forward to this one because I know that you watched Coming to America finally, so I've been waiting to hear your feedback on this.
The first.
Very excited.
Yeah, I did. I said I would watch it. I did take a look at it, and I was entertained by the film. I think it's one of those that, since I didn't see it and grow up with it, it was, I was like, well, I'm not just going to come out and say I love this and it's hilarious, because I was entertained, but I wasn't blown away. And I kind of agree with what director John Landis himself says. He finds the film just to be too long, and it kind of putters out after about an hour. And it did that for me. I loved all of the Zamunda. Is that the place they're from? There?
Yeah. I keep thinking there should be this clash of Wakanda. How close is Wakanda to Zamunda? I kept thinking about that when I see
they mention
movie
it. Yeah, there's a little bit of a joke in Coming to America about Wakanda.
Okay.
Cities, but I was entertained, but I just wasn't blown away. And the sequel reminded me a lot of Blues Brothers 2000, where it's just let's bring everyone back. And isn't it funny because remember, it just kind of felt like a Super Bowl ad to me, when these Super Bowl commercials come out and it's hey, remember these characters? Here they are again.
And then
there's no story.
And then to have all those people then hinge the movie on this actor I've never seen or heard of, and really wasn't that great that they played the son. I'm you really you've got all this stuff and you're focusing on it's you got all the ingredients for a great sandwich and you're focusing on the crust.
You really do. And I love Dolomite Is My Name, and that's the director's previous team up with Eddie Murphy. But this one was, and even Eddie Murphy himself, he does what he can with the material, but he's kind of on the bench for most of this, and that sweetness that I liked from him in the first one. In the first one, he's got these real moments of just genuine sweetness and tenderness. He's just like a buffoon. In part two, it's I don't know. I can't recommend the sequel, fellas. I did really enjoy, Michael, Talk Radio, the Oliver Stone film from 1988, I believe.
I got that on DVD right over there.
Yeah, I've been wanting to see this for years, and I stayed away. But this is the type of movie that could literally come out now, and I think you wouldn't even worry too much about the timelessness of the picture. It's all about these faceless voices and ideology and how it's dangerous. And one of the big lines in the movie is freedom isn't free. It's a really expensive. Freedom of speech isn't free at all. In fact, it's a really expensive commodity. And I think that the picture, especially the script, say a lot about giving people, platforms to speak, and then turning around and being prepared for whether or not you have, you're willing to let them say what they got to say. Great early role for Alec Baldwin. Eric Bogosian, solid in the picture, but he did get a little exhausting in the long run. I probably would have preferred someone like maybe Michael Douglas in that role, but gorgeously shot by Robert Richardson, and really interesting film. Have you seen it, Travis?
No, I've not.
I
I'm a
think
big
you
Oliver
might
Stone
be
fan.
interested
He doesn't
in
like
it.
Oliver Stone, so.
I mean, if you're gonna give him another chance, try talk radio, Travis.
Look at that guy. Come on.
Look at
That guy knows what's going on.
Look at that potato face.
I teased on online that I was gonna announce what I believe to be the greatest action film, just pure action, like squib body count action of the '90s. And I want to congratulate listener of the show, Joel Frederick, for nailing it. It is 1993's Cliffhanger, the Rennie Harlan film. I haven't seen this in fucking over 20 years. It's fucking awesome. It's like everything you could want from an action movie. Classic, like Die Hard on a Mountain. It's just pure, dumb, fun action. Great villain from John Lithgow. Really, really entertaining movie that still holds up if you like just stupid action movies. Followed it up with another mountain thriller, Vertical Limit, that was fucking terrible. Also starred a young Ben Mendelsohn, and this is from 2000. Like pops up as like this silly like Aussie that's like helping with the mission. Terrible film, horrible movie. I can't recommend it, but Cliffhanger is fucking awesome, and it kind of got me on this like Stallone kick. I'm like, Christ, when's the last time I saw like a Stallone movie? So I started watching like a bunch of his early stuff. This is going to be the dumbest thing I've had to announce on the show in a long time.
It is the Joe Dirt episode. Go for it.
I know. That is true. So this morning, I'm trying to find Rambo 3, and I can't find it streaming anywhere. And finally, I go to YouTube, and I type in Rambo 3, and it pops up. So I push play, and like a few minutes in, I realized that this isn't Rambo 3. It's over the top. But I'm pleasantly surprised because I remember having a lot of fun with arm wrestling picture Over the Top from 1986. And Sylvester Stallone's first exchange with somebody else in the film, like he's speaking French. And I'm like, okay, we got a learned truck driver here that can also arm wrestle. And I start to realize that the entire film is dubbed in French. And I'm reaching for the remote, and then I'm like, I'm saying to myself, well, wait a minute. Does it really matter that I can't understand what anyone's saying? I watched the entire movie in French with no subtitles, and it was fun. Pretty stupid.
Well, they say the mark of a great director is that you don't have to understand what anyone's saying. So, who directed this classic?
Some asshole I'd never heard of, but
some asshole I've never heard of deserves an Academy Award.
Aw, that's so sweet.
Yeah, you know what? By far, my top pick of the week. I'd like to talk about a couple of more. But my top pick of the week was Cobra. I haven't seen this since I was a kid, and it's also from '86.
Yeah,
it's a new world out there, pig.
I'm telling you right now, man. I was kind of blown away at how awesome this is. It's like a slasher movie mixed with like an action movie.
Dino Cosmatos, right?
It's George B. Cosmatos' film. Yeah. In name only. I read a ton into it. And Stallone.
He didn't direct it.
Took over the film, just like Kurt Russell did with Tombstone from Cosmatos. But
so he really wasn't much of a director, huh?
That's not. Yeah, they say he's a good producer, not much of a director. It was fucking awesome, and it's right before movies like this like started settling into parody. I think it's easily one of the best action movies. It's so different. You got Stallone versus a cult of serial killers, and you don't see any movies like that.
I'll have to revisit. I haven't seen it since it was new, which tells you how young I was when I watched
1986?
it.
1986, man. I'm telling you, Cobra is fucking awesome. I watched The Boy Who Could Fly, starring Fred Savage and Jay Underwood. Of course,
Jay Underwood
from Uncle Buck.
I grew up on that one. I watched that a lot when I was a kid.
I had never seen it. It was kind of sweet, but literally the plot is this kid has autism, and this girl who moves next door to him, her science teacher offers her extra credit to be his friend for science extra credit. It's like it's out to lunch as far as autism films are concerned, but a sweet film and a good performance by Bug from Uncle Buck.
Wow, there you go.
I almost forgot. I'm sorry to jump in real quick. I meant to say this for some time now. I read At the End of the Hall from a friend of the show and one-time guest host Chad Gibbons. I thought it was an entire script. It turns out it's like a third of a script, but. A taut thriller about the abuse of the disabled.
Yeah, I remember.
A young Chad Gibbons. You have quite a mind, sir. You have quite a mind. This was, if any of you have the means to read this, don't. Check it out.
If you have the financial means and you're interested in a story where somebody injects bleach into their brother's veins because he's disabled, by all means, produce the film and we'll get it going. I turned 2 movies off this week, and I haven't done that in a little bit. I turned 2 off. I tried to watch Clifford, starring Martin Short and Charles Grodin. I'm like, how bad can this be? Like, I love Marty Short, and how bad? It's
like Meet the Parents. It's like that kind of movie.
It's inexplicable and how bad it is. It makes no sense. It's so stupid.
Was the other movie Joe Dirt that you turned off?
I wish. I tried to watch Underwater because I've been like interested in it for a long time. Like an underwater monster movie, Kristen Stewart. It's excuse the pun, but it's abysmal. Like, I don't know when Kristen Stewart started attending the Justin Bieber School of Acting, but she's horrible in it. In the movie is just, it jumps right into like you don't know any of the characters.
I really liked that. Actually,
I fucking hated that.
Jumped into the action, like the movie just starts. I thought that was cool.
It did that, but like I didn't care about any of the characters because it did that. So I don't know. See what you think and let us know. And But that's it for the week.
Don't send us any emails though. It's been like 20 weeks. We're good. Thank you very much.
Chopped full.
Yeah. So you guys excited about this Oliver Stone collection or what? Look at this.
Still holding this up for those that can't see.
Holding that up.
Mike has been holding up this DVD for like 20 minutes.
This is a steal. It's 2 sets worth. Look at this. All these movies could be yours. Talk radio.
Do they have to be mine?
Yeah.
JFK, Platoon, Doors, Wall Street.
No, thank you.
Yeah, there's a lot of films here.
How many factual liberties do you think are stuffed in all of those discs, Mike?
I don't know. We got
how many complete divorces from reality that people have consumed as if it was fact are in those.
Well, that's their fault. They should do their own homework because that's Hollywood 101. Hollywood 101 is exploit everything, make everything full of shit. Biopics. I was listening to some great points on Bill Simmons' podcast he had on Wesley Morris, one of my favorite critics, and they were talking about some of the Oscar buzz and how it's just devoid of. It's awful this year. It's one of the all-time worst possible. They haven't come out officially yet.
It's Monday.
In terms of Best Picture nominees, it's going to be some bad movies, like movies that just would never make the cut. And you could blame it on COVID or whatever, but I don't know. It's very strange, and I kind of agreed with him for the most part because biopics are becoming a bit too common now too, and it seems like there's a political agenda behind it. I don't know these things to be true. It's just a lot of chaos, and it's unfortunate. But as far as what I watched this week, I watched some that I might bring into the show, so I guess I can't reveal all of them. I felt like watching those. But, I don't know if we'll ever even do it. I watched American Pie 2 since I watched American Reunion recently. I started going backwards. And American Pie 2 is very vulgar. Crass. Yeah, there's a scene where Jason Biggs gets his hand stuck to his dick with super glue, has to go to the hospital. It's hilarity and hijinks to the highest degree, let me tell you. I watched 101 Dalmatians. 101 Dalmatians, 60-year anniversary of 101 Dalmatians. And the good news is there's really not a lot of, as far as I could tell, it wasn't much stereotypes or any racism going on in this one, which is good news because
way to go, Disney.
Some of those. Yeah, way to go. You pulled one off. There's a lot of animal talking in this film, though. It's almost like a Dr. Dolittle movie. All the animals are talking, and the humans are in the background. So 101 Dalmatians, I don't think it holds up. I didn't really enjoy it that much. I was kind of excited about it. And the animation looks horrible today. And some of the animation, like Fantasia, it still looks amazing. And that was 20 years before 101 Dalmatians. So
it's not one of my favorites.
Yeah, I couldn't even remember. I knew there was 101 Dalmatians, and I knew Cruella de Vil was a bitch, and she wanted to eat puppies or something. So I couldn't really remember anything else. So it was a refresher course. I watched Aladdin. I loved Aladdin. Yeah, it's still not even. These movies aren't even an hour and a half. Like it's because they're animated. They just kind of like, well, we'll get it close enough. But damn it, if I just still didn't laugh my ass off. Robin Williams. Speaking of Robin Williams, just so good in that movie. It's so great. Some people get annoyed by him riffing, but in this movie, it's a perfect vehicle for him to just be anything and play whatever jumped into his mind, and they created it as an animation. It was fantastic.
I can't believe it. I'm losing to a rug.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you cry when
Mayday!
Did you cry when the genie got freed?
Nah, not anymore.
Not anymore.
Yeah. I know. I don't know. It's just too lighthearted for me to take it that seriously. So, but I laugh. It gives me good laughter. I watched a movie that I was so into in 2009. It was in 2010. I saw it in the theater and I bought it on DVD as soon as I could. It was 500 Days of Summer, and I thought it was such a good film. And it turns out it's not.
No, it's horrible, Mike.
It's not. I watched it for the first time a few months ago and didn't care for it.
It turns out that it was personal life that I identified it with the time because I was pining for this girl and she didn't like me, and it would just fit right into my own life. That's all it was. It has nothing to do with it being a good film or not, because it's got a good soundtrack. I give it that. It's got some Smiths, Bell and Sebastian references. That's cool, but otherwise, this movie sucks, actually. And I love Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I love Zoe Deschanel. But it sucks. I think it sucks. Yeah. So that's too bad. And Chloe Grace Moritz, how do you say her name?
Whatever. I
mix up all
two
three
names.
names.
I get all fucked up with multiple names.
Chloe Moritz Grace? Chloe Grace Moritz.
Chloe Grace Moretz.
All right, there we go. Yeah, she's in it, and she's cute and funny, and she's plays the, it's a classic trope with like the younger sister who's like super wise, kind of like in Bottle Rocket with Grace. How did Grace become so cynical?
When you did roll your eyes in the back of your head at the mention of like autumn coming at the very end, like did it hurt when you rolled your eyes at that lame moment at the very end?
Yes, I mean that was cheesy. And didn't this give Mark Webb, the Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man opportunity, which kind of disappeared. So. Oh, well, yeah, it's trash. It's not as good as I thought it was, and I'm glad to know that now. So I went back and watched Coming to America as well in anticipation to watch Coming to America. So. Which I will.
When Arsenio Hall plays like that weird like wolf preacher guy, like that really skinny creepy guy, I literally had a nightmare. I had a nightmare, and like I woke up in the middle of the night like terrified of that like character. So great makeup by Rip Baker, but fucking really creepy character.
I'm getting are we getting audio issues?
Eric, you have some major audio issues going on. You're crackling and popping or something. I don't know.
No, I'm not.
Yeah. I don't know.
While you figure that out, I'll make. We talked about the Oscars real quick. Did you guys see that the Razzies nominations have been released, including our boy David Spade has been nominated for The Wrong Missy. So sorry to say, which I actually like The Wrong Missy, but what are you gonna do? I mean, he's right up there with his buddy Adam Sandler, and as you mentioned, you mentioned Doolittle. Doolittle has been nominated for a bunch of things, including worst actor for Robert De Niro. Robert De Niro. I mean Robert Downey Jr. Right up there with Mike Lindell. The My Pillow guy has been nominated for
My Pillow.
Oh, come on. What movie was he in?
Absolute Proof.
Oh, okay. Well, if he was in a movie, then it counts. Okay. Eric, what do you think of that?
Yeah, I watched him as well. I read the nominations, and I think Anne Hathaway was two nominees.
Why don't you leave and come right back? Because I don't know why it's happening. Sorry, everybody. Sometimes these things happen, but we're going to work it out, and,
technical difficulties. What's she gonna do? It could
difficult
be a
conversation.
But I feel bad for some of these people. I always kind of feel bad for like the Razzie people. I mean, like Eddie Murphy recently said that he kind of stopped acting for quite some time after he was nominated for a Razzie. That it just hit him so hard. And like some of these people have done like they're trying pretty hard. And so, Ron Howard was nominated for a bunch of stuff. For Hillbilly Elegy was nominated for all kinds of Razzies. Katie Holmes, who has been out of the game for a while, she finally kind of comes back, and she's double nominated for worst actress. Like I like Katie Holmes. Like I'm a little worried she's going to see this and not act anymore. But what are you going to do?
I hope that doesn't happen. Eric, what do you think?
Doesn't either. Yeah, we're just talking about the Razzies and how they kind of hurt people's feelings too. But also Rudy Giuliani was nominated for one, so it's kind of like
I like when people. Check. I like when people come to accept them. I think like Ben Affleck came to get his in person. Like fuck them. Like it's tongue in cheek anyway.
Yeah, that's funny.
Okay. Well, there it is. That's You do. You sound great. Thank you. And I wanted to say thank you to everybody who participates with the show and makes it what it is. Don't forget Cinema9Pod at ProtonMail.com. Cinema9Pod on. We got Instagram and Facebook page. Travis posted some movies he's been watching. So if he doesn't get to all of them in the show, you can see everything that he watched on our Facebook page. Right, Travis?
That's true. Bruce Willis was nominated for 3 Razzies for 3 different movies.
Three.
Yeah, fuck him. I like him less and less as every year goes
Phoning
by.
everything in.
He's doing like Nick Cage, like where he's just kind of getting paychecks, but he's not doing it with the gusto that Cage is. Where even Vengeance, the Love Story, which I mentioned, was like not a good movie, but his performance was still fun. You know,
it was.
So whatever.
So I wanted to show you guys this. Here you go.
Those of you that can see things.
Yes, on the live feed. This is from Russell Withers, one of our favorite community members to the show. Made this great GIF of the Cinema 9 pod. And for those of you that can't see, yep, this is a Bully clip. This is straight from our favorite movie, Bully. Well done, Russell. Join the crew. It says join the crew at Cinema 9. And it's got a panning, rotating shot of everybody in Bully. Oh, thank you, Russell. You made me laugh when I saw that earlier. I really rather enjoyed that.
That's at least 6 episodes until I'm watching Bully still, because it's it's got to be 6 episodes straight with we don't talk about it before I will watch it. Once that happens, I will watch it.
Wow!
I commit to that.
Damn it! Oh shit! Well, that was worth. That was a thank you, Russell. Great
thank
gift.
you, Russell. Yeah.
Hey, great gift, Dad. All right. Well, it's time for the main event this week. This movie, does it hold up? The feature segment, the segment that we are known for across the globe, even in Great Britain. We are ranked in the top 100 for film history podcasts. So thank you, Great Britain, for listening to us and considering us. And I actually think that's quite an honor because, theater goes back hundreds of years in Great Britain. It really, all the acting, some of the best actors that ever lived.
Yeah, but film doesn't go back hundreds of years.
Well, no, but that's the
Great
legacy.
thespians.
It's the next
the Globe
step,
and whatnot. Sure.
If they had film, they would have.
They would have been recording things.
Yeah, they would have absolutely. But
see, look,
Olivier,
film history. We're
Peter
doing
O'Toole. Some legends over there. So, anyway, yes, thank you for being a part of the show. Yeah, All right, so yes, it's time for the final conclusion on Joe Dirt, 2001 film featuring David Spade. This is probably the most bozo movie possibly we've done, I would say.
Even more bozo than other guys. Yeah, this is officially. I knew I was going to throw out a curveball. I had 2 other movie titles in my head. I didn't know that this was going to be what came out of my mouth, but once it did, I was married to it, I guess.
Good. Well, this is why we do the show. We're supposed to expose ourselves. Eric, have you ever seen Joe Dirt prior to this?
No, I've never seen Joe Dirt, so I'm not coming in with any nostalgia, any attachment. So.
Well, then you're going to hate it. You're going to hate it. That's fine. You should. We already know it doesn't hold up for Eric. Mike, you've seen it when you were a young man, right?
Yes, of course. Yeah, I definitely saw this.
Because it's not going to it's not a good movie. We know that. If you don't have any nostalgia for this movie, you're not going to sit down and be like,
Well, you don't know that.
Pretty good.
I think you're pushing a little bit too much of your opinion.
All right. I don't mean to speak for Eric.
Talking to a guy who loved Over the Top with French dubbing earlier.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, let's start with you, Travis. So you saw this movie on DVD, I assume, a year or so after it came out.
Dude, I saw it in theaters when I was when I was in film school. One of my good buddies, Brad, lived in an apartment complex. It was right next door to a dollar theater. So we're going to film school. We have crazy schedules, and there's a dollar theater right there. We saw fucking everything. And that was a time in my life where one time I even went by myself. I skipped class to go see Lucky Numbers in theaters by myself with John Travolta and Lisa Kudrow. So that's I was seeing every fucking thing. I'd see any movie. But also, we were smoking a lot, and we was a bunch of 21-year-olds. It hit us right in the funny bone, and I bought it on DVD. I didn't even I don't think I even rented it ever. I bought it and I watched it over and over and over again. And it's definitely still one of the movies that I will generally just kind of throw a quote out of. Even though it's been a good 15 years since I'd watched it. The quotes are plentiful in this movie for me, at least. So I figured, I guess I was due to watch it again. And last week we had, not last week, but the last time it was my turn to pick a movie, I picked the fairly heavy, The Place Beyond the Pines. And I thought, why not shift gears drastically?
Well, it's definitely a drastic shift, no doubt about it. So Eric Brandstrup, you had no, so you never saw this movie. Do you remember when it came out? Do you remember the buzz on Joe Dirt?
No. I just know Joe Dirt has a mullet and like he walks around like a meteor that's shit. That's all I knew about it. Jamie Presley, I think, Kid Rock. That's it. That's all I knew about it. I sat there with my pen and paper, wearing like my reading glasses, with like an Earl Grey tea. And I'm like, what? Am I about to fucking critically like review this picture? I set the pen down immediately.
Okay. Well, I remember when this movie came out, kind of, but I don't actually have a great recall because it came out in 2001, and I didn't go to the theater much in 2001. I really didn't. It was a year where I just didn't go to the theater. 2002, I started going to the theater a lot more again. I'm not sure why. I didn't have a lot of money, expendable income either. My life. Actually, the one movie I did see in theaters in 2001 was Castaway at a dollar theater. Funny enough, Travis. So I did see that at the dollar theater, but that was only because I was walking around Dallas and it was so hot. And when I found $1, I'm like, I'm going to spend 3 hours in this air-conditioned theater. I don't care what movie it is. Turns out it was a pretty good movie, but boy, it felt so good to be in there. It was so nice and cool, man.
You found $1 in Dallas.
I did.
Sounds like a fucking country song. I
Sounds
found
better than Joe
$1 in Dallas.
It does.
It really happened. It's a true story.
We're to the dollar theater and saw Castaway.
Up down my dollar at the goddamn counter.
We should do a country album. We really should.
Do it.
So, yeah, I definitely saw this on DVD. And in fact, I feel like I probably saw it on DVD at the dump. It just feels like that would have happened there for sure.
Not the garbage dump for the uninitiated. That's a place we used to live.
It's a home.
Yeah. We reference it a lot. Like if people don't know us personally, like these guys hang out at the garbage dump a lot. They used to live at the garbage dump. No, it was a home. It was a house. Like 20 dudes lived there. It's stupid.
Get on down to the dump, Ypsi Dump. That's right. So it's in Ypsilanti, Michigan. It's still standing if you want to drive by it. 1304 Washtenaw Avenue. Beautiful house. It's got a red door on it now. Not bad. And it's right across the street. While you're there, get some Dom Donuts. Do not miss out on those Dom Donuts. Still good.
We'll never forget Kyle Botel climbing out of the window to avoid having to pay the rent.
We didn't have to name check him on it.
You just totally.
We all did some dumb shit in those days.
You realize we're live. Yeah, you just called out Kyle Botel. Wow, that's funny.
Climbed out the window, roll down the hill to avoid that rent money. Come on.
Oh, dear. Yeah. Anyways, it's a place where we lived. And that's where, when Travis moved in, we watched a lot of movies together. The classic No Man's Land always comes to mind, which is, I think about bringing that one in maybe one day. I've considered it recently. It's a film about two guys stuck in the UN war zone with the Serbian Bosnian conflict, and that was great. So Travis always brought home a lot of movies, and he had a big ass collection that was starting to brew. So I'm sure that Joe Dirt was one of those. And that's where I assume I saw this film. That's my best guess. Although I cannot recall the exact moment where I saw it, but it definitely became a repeat viewer because it's really easy to watch. So it's just easy. It's natural. So I've seen this movie a lot. There's no doubt about it. But I did not look up.
I'm sorry to interrupt. But Eric said, "Is it?" And I'm thinking it was when you're 21. I don't know about when you're 40. Go ahead, Mike. Sorry to interrupt.
I'm pretty sure. I've seen this movie in the last 2 years for sure. Because I would, if I had it available, it was easy to throw on. And if it was on TV, which I never do, I don't have TV anymore. But when there still was TV, I probably would watch it if it was on because it's just easy to watch. I don't know. I find it's just something that can fly by, waste an hour and a half, no problemo.
You're Joe Meteorite, and I'm Joe Dirt.
So I did not look up the score because I want to participate in this one. So the IMDb score, I'm going to say people like this movie, but they don't love it. It can't be a classic. So I'm going to say it's in the sixes. I'm going to say it's a 6.3. It's a classic 6.3.
I'm going to guess it's even lower than that because people that like it probably love it, but it is it's a Happy Madison, and it's not one of the Happy Madison ones that people talk about a lot. I'm going to guess it's like the high fives. I'm going to say 5.8.
Eric?
1.6.
Tell me again, I was wrong about Eric's estimation of this movie.
No. The answer is 6.0. All right. Right on a 6. So, and actually, less reviews than I thought. Only 51,000. Usually we get in the hundreds of thousands. So I'm surprised by that as well. But hey, what do I know? I don't know everything. On Rotten Tomatoes, anybody? Is this a fresh film on Rotten Tomatoes? Anybody?
I'm going to say it is green.
You are correct, sir. 10%. This is an all-time low by far for this show. 10%. I mean, that's a little harsh. 10, the critics, but the audience gives it a nice, healthy, buttery bucket of popcorn. 63%. So this is by far the biggest disparity we have had on a film. By far, well over 50%. That is.
Get to these reviews. Let's see who's paid to review this film critically.
Please let Destin chime in on this one.
Well, as always, we give you the reviews on the show. We got 4 pages of reviews, and as we scroll through, I do not see Destin yet, but there's a lot of splats, like you said. I mean, Peter Travers, the Rolling Stone eminent critic, said, in one scene, raw sewage is dumped on Joe. See Joe Dirt, and you'll know how that feels.
God bless Peter Travers.
See Joe Dirt, and you'll know how that
raw
feels.
Sewage.
Yeah, that's harsh. Our local guy, Detroit Free Press, Terry Lawson. Miller's reduced to the guy in the back seat spouting off obscure nerdisms when everyone else just wants to talk dirty and get stupid.
Isn't that what we would expect of Miller? I mean,
yeah, he couldn't help himself if he tried, right? He never plays a character. He's being himself.
He's going to come in there and make his references.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it was a one-day thing for him too. 1 or 2 days. I remember I watched the commentary back in the day, and I'm pretty sure it was an afternoon for the dude.
I believe it completely. Our old pal, rest in power, Mr. Roger Ebert says, this is real simple. Joe Dirt doesn't waste any time letting you know where it stands. That's it.
Oh yeah, it's immediately stupid. Like it starts off stupid and saying stupid. It's not trying to be anything other than stupid.
Yeah, I can't find Destin, unfortunately. That's a damn shame. I guess 2001 he had better things to do. But Lawrence Topman of the Charlotte Observer, this is a fresh one. This is a rare fresh. Is Joe Dirt a satisfying way to spend a mindless evening at the multiplex some hot Saturday? Yeah. So there you go. Just kind of what you did, Travis. Just head on down to the multiplex. It is. So, yeah, overwhelming, a lot of negativities and splats. So, Joe Dirt is a movie David Spade carries. And I will say this. It's impressive. He does a pretty good job in this movie because, he kind of got it. He built his chops doing the Tommy Boys and the Black Sheep with Farley. Farley dies.
Right.
Yeah, and Farley dies. And then you're like, oh, shit, what is David Spade going to do now? And he actually, I will say this. He does a good job. I want to talk about David Spade here for a second in this role. Sure. I thought he carries this movie. I think he does.
I mean, there's no one else that we're following. It's his movie,
yeah.
I mean, like it's and it's one of those things. If you don't like David Spade, you're not going to care for this movie. That's for sure.
But yeah, I would disagree with that. I would disagree because it's not like the class. Like
it transcends.
This is the total opposite of like the Spade we know from like the Hollywood Minute and being the cynical asshole. This is the total opposite of that.
That's true. This is, I mean, it's a very earnest role. He's a very earnest character, and it's very it's not as mocking of. I'm going to say the words white trash because I've been called white trash before, so I'm not going to get kicked off of Facebook now for saying it anyways. But apparently you can now these days. It's happened to people. Yeah. I can't say white trash anymore, but I'm going to. Anyways, it's not mocking to white trash. It's really more love letter in a lot of ways. It's kind of like humanizing and kind of like it's funny, but it's not like insulting. I don't know. It makes me think of this book. I'm trying to think of the title. I want to say it's called The Many Lives of Shepard Lee, something like that. It's like this book from the 1800s about this guy that like would just like die and then come back into these different lives. And he he's like a rich man, then he's a slave, and then he's like somebody else, and he like bounces around. And it's kind of like Joe Dirt is like a classic epic tale of someone trying to get home or like get to a quest. He's meeting people along the way, and he's doing this stuff, and he's like living these different lives. Like now he's a carny, now he's Florida man, now he's this guy. Like it's like, oh, I'm gonna explore all these different like tropes of lower class whiteness. And not necessarily in like he's generally cynical, so you'd think it was going to be like he's going to be pissing all over these people, but he's really not. I mean, for the most part, he's not. I wouldn't think.
Yeah, Dennis Miller is like the version. Dennis Miller is always like he is, but he's kind of what David Spade is when David Spade's not in character, at least on Saturday Night Live. He's the cynical kind of asshole and making fun of him, and he's like, hey, he calls him a beautiful loser. And Joe's like, I'll leave. Joe doesn't appreciate that. And he's always putting up the dukes, mic check 1, mic check 2. And Eric, did you laugh at that when he puts up the dukes?
I laughed one time, and we can talk about it when you're ready. But
no, we're ready now. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Like Joe Dirt is like trying to look sexy for Jamie Presley. I was
laughing.
It's funny.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Hey,
I like David Spade. I mean, he was hilarious on SNL, and you're right. He's not the classic sarcastic prick, which he made an entire career on. I came in ready to laugh. Like I wasn't like against this. Like, oh, this is fucking stupid. Like I was ready to laugh, but like it wasn't there for me. In fact, a lot of Happy Madison films, they always have like this formula, like where the lead character is stupid, and then like you always have to like cut to these side characters for like their one line or like one reaction, and the whole script is just, it wasn't funny. And the worst part for me about the script is the balance, because you have like this extreme. It's hard for me to critique this, but like you have this extremely
Joe Dirt. How is it hard to critique Joe Dirt? It's not Schindler's List.
I know. Well, with any much insight, you have this extremely like infantile humor that like a kid could watch and chuckle at, like the crocodile. But then you have the other extreme where like I'm fucking my sister, and like it's either or. Like I would have preferred they stuck with just like a straight crass R-rated comedy, or something just really like silly and stupid, like the Ernest films.
I feel like it's kind of. I feel like it's pretty in keeping with late '90s, early 2000s Happy Madison features, and that it's pretty much geared towards men, boys 13 to 25. Like
poop.
It's not.
Multiple
not,
poop jokes.
Yeah, it's not particularly cerebral. It's not not trying to be. It is over the top stupid in some places. Like, I mean, do I have criticisms for this film? Of course. Why does Dennis Miller? Why does he talk about Brandy's ass like he can see it? What is that? What is happening that you're talking about? Like her, like why? Why does the hairstylist, when Joe Dirt is asked if he would cut his mullet, they repeat what he did. Joe Dirt was just asked if he never cut his mullet, and you can tell he's never even thought of it before. There's flaws in this movie.
What about he asked that girl to show her her boobs? That was totally bogus. He's holding up the place with his poopy tank. He's trying to make being that's a. I mean, that is like
no, it's on. There's parts about this movie that didn't age well, and I'll go ahead and get into the biggest problem I have with this movie on this viewing. It's a homophobic movie. I mean, this movie is just rampant with casual homophobia throughout. And on one hand, that is both, it's 2001, so it's unsurprising. And for two, like, he is playing a certain kind of character. He's not the most advanced or evolved dude. But when you're dealing with a character that it's like the central point of the movie is that like this dude's got heart, right? Like that he's a scrappy, like, you might shit on him, but he's got heart. He's a good person. And to infuse like constant casual homophobia into like his almost every joke throughout the whole movie, it makes it hard to watch in 2021.
Homophobe with a heart of gold. That's what you got going on here. It is. Yeah. And that's a bummer, because it's just not going to fly now. And I didn't find it as funny at all. Like, I mean, the fact that we're supposed to feel bad for him too. We're supposed to feel like empathy for this guy's been pushed around his whole life, but then you throw in these casual homophobic remarks here and there and everywhere. I will say that it was part of these types of films in the period. And right. I'm gonna fight for the context of a film. I don't agree with it, but this is just how movies were made. We could pull up 50 films like this right. from anywhere from like the late 90s into the early 2000s, and even up until 2010 probably, with The Hangover and other films like this. I mean, it's always like seen as bogus. Even the Basketball Diaries. I watched the Basketball Diaries the other day, and Leo DiCaprio plays Jim Carroll, and he's addicted to heroin. So he lets guys suck his dick so he can get money for heroin, or to get heroin. And they
never made sense to me. Like, aren't you sucking dick for money? Like, who's paying to suck dick?
Yeah, I feel like what really happened is Jim Carroll did suck people's dicks to get money, the other way around. That's what happened. But he didn't want to admit that because it's a homophobic comment in the end, because Leo DiCaprio was like, oh, this is the most disgusting thing that's ever happened to me in the world. These are extremes everywhere. They're just all over movies. That's my point. It doesn't matter if it's a drama or if it's one of these stupid ass movies. It's just how society was looking at people. Look, we barely had gay characters coming out on TV shows until the late 90s and stuff. Right. That's why Bottle Rocket and other movies were there. What was a movie we did recently where it was like, oh wow, it was cool. It was like kind of advanced for its time. I can't remember which one because we do so many, but I agree with you, Travis, and I'm not gonna defend the other side of that point at all.
I know you're right to contextualize it. Like, I mean, like there's a reason why, like I've seen this movie a million times. Again, it's been like 15 years, but that I didn't think of it that way. You know, I didn't remember any of that because it was super common to comedies, especially from the era. But
yeah, like the biggest insult you could give a character is calling him a fag. Excuse the language, but that's a prime insult for
say
like,
the F word
to give. Oh, sorry, I'm canceled. But you know what I mean. Even Bill and Ted would call each other that. And it's just tossed around so often. And I'm glad it's gone.
Yeah, it's all over movies.
Yeah, very glad it's gone. But yeah, so like watching this movie, I laughed many times watching this movie, and but that constant thread, like it's hard not to, like, as you say, like on one hand, like part of me is like, yeah, it's 2001. On the other hand, when we're dealing with a character that we're supposed to find charming because of his resilience and his like his heart and his all these things, he's supposed to be like a good person at above all, and it just made so it just made it harder to feel that way about him, because generally that was always how I felt about this movie before, that it's stupid, it makes me laugh, which I felt both those things when I watched it the other night, but also that it had a heart, that like, because he's like he sits down and Dennis Miller is immediately like, hey, what's up, fucking freak, like piece of shit, and he's like, well, I guess I'll just sit here and let you call me a piece of shit for a while. Because he's like so desperate for approval, right? Like, I mean, like, because we're talking about a character who's abused since birth, literally. Like, he's got something with his skull, and that's why. But like, literally, he's abused since birth.
His parents abandoned him,
and then abandoned by his parents, and like he's got deep like emotional issues about like needing for approval, right? And so to the point that he will like accept all kinds of like abuse from people in the hopes, but he's like, if I'm a good person, good things will happen to me, and like. Ultimately that is true, but like when you throw in that homophobic bit,
isn't that what's insinuated in the Buffalo Bob stuff too, right? Like that. Oh, I heard he did more than that. Is that what they're?
Nothing happened with that guy. Nothing happened. Yeah, the running joke.
Right. Yeah, I assume he kills people, but then he also does weird stuff. In the end, Christopher Walken's in this movie, though. I mean, reputable, legendary actor Christopher Walken plays a part. He's a role player in this movie.
It clearly just wound up and let go. Like, go ahead, Chris, do your thing.
Yes.
Yeah, give the show that.
Yeah, who cares? It's a free for all. Kid Rock is in this movie. And Kid Rock, I don't like Kid Rock, but he's perfect for this movie. I will say that. He fits right into that world.
He's not bad.
He's actually perfect for the role. Def Leppard Sucks was an improv, and it's one of the funnier parts of the whole movie, I think, honestly.
Yeah,
I
agree.
Sucks.
It worked out. Fred Ward's in this movie, too. I mean, there's got a nice role.
Fred Ward replaced Gary Busey. That was supposed to be Gary. It was filmed Gary Busey and Roseanne Barr, and it was so over the top that they decided not to put it in the movie. Can you imagine this fucking movie with a performance so over the top that they didn't put it in there? I'd love to see the footage.
I would love to have had that been an experience, but that's okay. You got a lot of solid acting in this role, so I'll give them that. The story, who cares? Do we care? Did anyone get emotional about this story on this thing?
Travis? I got emotional when Charlie's balls were stuck to the porch and they just kept on like silly putty, like getting stretched back and forth. I felt for the dog in those moments. No, I actually have gotten emotional to this movie. I'm kind of ashamed of it in the past. I have, because like there is like this whole element running through it about like, looking for family, and he's so down on himself that he doesn't realize that this beautiful woman who's a perfect catch, like the town beauty, is into him and always has been, but he hates himself so much because of his childhood that like he just can't even imagine it, and he like doesn't see it. So I think that there is like a lot of like sympathetic stuff about his character, but no, this time I did not get emotional.
Yes, Brandy, played by Brittany Daniel, who also is known as the woman from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, or the man/woman who becomes a man who becomes a woman. I can't remember which way she goes.
She plays in some
really
problematic stuff.
Yeah, but it was funny on that show. I'll give her that.
Funny.
But
she's funny and beautiful.
Yeah, she is a perfect country girl of his desire. But he actually admits to himself in the movie that I think she actually likes me. And then he gets pooped on by everybody else in his life, including Kid Rock and those bozo crew behind him.
That's them driving that point home, that everybody's shitting on him all the time is like what keeps him from seeing that.
Yeah, that Molar World scene where he's floating around, that is the worst shot scene. It looks so bad. It's just so dumb. It's not even funny at all with the ass. Okay, so he's flying in this basket balloon there's a storm coming in from Molar
Wizard
World.
of Oz.
Yeah, and the hot. It's not a hot air balloon. It doesn't have flames in it. It doesn't have the ability to really go that far. But there he is, 36,000 feet.
Privacy.
Yes, and the pilot shows their butt cheeks. The pilots moon him in the cockpit of the plane that's up there, and he's just. It looks so bad, dude. It's just a terrible looking shot.
I mean, it's absurd. The movie's absurd. A man, he gets his foot caught in a train thing, expects a dog to I don't know, use a phone and call the cops or something. Loses a leg and is home by dinner. I mean, the movie it's a fucking Happy Madison movie. It's not following logic. It doesn't have to follow logic.
But that's what they do though. They throw the heart in. All Happy Madison movies, they do try to there's this heart to it. That's why they make money, because this is almost like a family picture. It's crass enough where it's not, but it's not so crass that it's PG-13. We could bring the whole family along and all laugh.
Walking's dead boner. I mean,
no, that's gonna fly. There might be one or two scenes where it would have got cut, but this is PG-13, is it not?
I think it is. I didn't check, but
that's what they do. The grown-ups and all these things, there's these sexual innuendos, fart jokes, all this stuff, and that's how Happy Madison's been killing it. That's what they do, and there's this segment of America that's like, hey, let's just take the whole family there. We might get a few laughs, and we can keep them busy for 2 hours, and that's how they've been getting it done for decades.
Adam Sandler also nominated for a Razzie this year for Hubie Halloween.
There you go.
Which, wasn't great, but so that's the thing with Happy Madison movies. You don't go in thinking, "Hey, this is going to be an important film." You crack a beer and you put it in on a Saturday afternoon, or really more likely a Saturday at 11 p.m. It's not the kind of stuff you put on because it's pure escapism.
The film that defined a generation. Joe Dirt.
It's a dumb movie. It's a fucking dumb movie.
So I definitely can say that I would have hated this 10 times more if not for the fucking great soundtrack featuring every single classic rock song ever from the 70s.
Yeah, it's a great soundtrack.
But it does this thing, and fucking Happy Madison does this all the time. They have this great soundtrack, but the direction and the musical direction is so haphazard and sloppy that you get literally 3 seconds of a huge hit before they have to move on. It's it's just not enough. It leaves me hanging every time. Maybe when I start getting into the song, they cut it off just so somebody can say something stupid.
Hey, come on, Kevin Nealon's in this movie. You didn't like that?
No, it wasn't funny, and I blame Fred. Scripts are all fucking terrible. Look him up.
I love it when he's interesting. No. But the movie is made for people with short attention spans. I mean, it's not. I mean, that's partly why the music's cutting like that. I mean, it's not it's. There's a reason why there's a joke every fucking minute and 30 seconds or so, or more.
Over half the budget of this film went to the soundtrack.
Exactly.
Oh,
exactly.
Easily.
Whatever happened to Jamie Presley?
Well, she did, My Name is Earl. That was a big hit for her for a few years. And I don't know, she just got older and maybe she wanted to have a family. I don't know. Maybe she just wanted to live an independent lifestyle. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I've seen her pop up in a handful of things. I mean, that is one of the nice things about the movie. You get Adam Beach in there too. You get Rosanna Arquette. You get a fair smattering of decent little side folks.
By the way, Jamie Presley. See, guys, this is why we don't know this. She's been on the TV show Mom, for the last 7 years as Jill. Mom on CBS with actually reputable actors.
She's not even. No, I've seen it. She's not even one of the mains though. She's plays a friend.
Jill.
I watched
Allison Janney, Anna Faris.
Yeah, Allison Janney. Anna Faris left the show recently, but
well, maybe she's played a more prominent role because in 2021, Jill's in every episode. So.
Oh, she's probably bumped up then. Yeah, but it was decent stuff. I've seen a few episodes. It was good.
But there's no movies like there's no movies in her IMDb anymore. She did 2 episodes on BoJack Horseman, but that's it. She just really isn't in film anymore. It's just not there. I don't know why. Not have,
I mean, a lot of times people just start, their lives take other directions. Seth Rogen is like making pottery and like weed stuff now. Jim Belushi's selling weed now. Apparently all the actors are doing stuff with weed now.
Where the weed at? Where the weed at? Being on TV also is conducive to somebody who maybe is trying to have a family because you don't have to go far away. You can work there. The same sitcom life is all right. It's there every day. Sure. But anyways, what else can you say about this movie? What else could we talk about?
Look, I will say this. I laughed the hardest this point on this viewing at the same point where I always laugh the hardest in this movie when he's like, I was totally bombed on insecticide. I think the whole bit where he's like in the fucking, he thinks he's in a circus and he's like sitting in the sink and then his father, came out looking like Father Time and Richard Ramirez. That whole like 30-second bit always makes me cackle my ass off. And it did this time as well. So
there you go.
I would want to throw that out there.
Eric, any more criticisms?
Well, they keep cutting to like the people listening to the show, and like I just find that like so like we talked about like Joe Dirt's getting made fun of immediately by Dennis Miller. It's like old fashioned as hell, like 80s jokes, and then like the listeners are making fun of him too, right? Constantly, like everyone in the world is listening to this like radio show. And then, like, after a while, like, they all start to get on Joe's side, and then all of a sudden he's, like, this huge, like, cultural, like, icon. Like, all that, it doesn't work for me. TRL, well, you just watched Daily pops in.
You just watched talk radio, so,
I know.
Comparing a movie with... Yeah, movies with radio in them and trying to make those fly, that's not always easy to do. And I actually think they do a decent job of keeping this moving only because, like Travis said, it's very short attention span theater, constant next town, next place, next spot, next song, yada, yada, yada. That's the only way, in terms of like the organizational structure of the film, it works. I will give it that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to let you guys have at it. I was miserable. I was like I said, I came in there to laugh, and the script wasn't there. Like you said, they probably spent the whole budget on these songs, and the script just needed a few more passes for me. It was painful.
What could they have done? Eric?
Made the jokes funnier. Fred Wolf is not funny. Like I hated all of his sketches on SNL, and of his scripts always are just toilet humor for me. And it's like, it's one thing to like be silly and like make fart jokes and like someone's getting shit on, but that in and of itself isn't funny. Like,
look, I'm not the world's biggest Fred Wolf fan. I'm not going to sit here and defend him. And Joe Dirt 2 was so bad that he directed. I mean, it was just incredibly bad. You feel how you feel. I couldn't sit here and I couldn't sit here like it's comedy.
Too,
yeah, David Spade wrote it too. Yeah.
So why is it not just Fred Wolf, as far as I know, unless you know something I don't know.
No, it's Spade as well. And to me, like, it's funny enough. There are parts where it's like that don't hold up as well, and usually it's the potty humor type stuff. The funniest parts to me have always been just mostly Spade's delivery of a lot of stuff. The feast your eyes on a feast of smoke. Just like why he's got a lot of. I think it's a lot of it's him and his lines and stuff. The what's happening in the movie, a lot of the bits and stuff usually fall very short. The fucking wig at the end, like the last wig that he get, like that was the biggest end, like last joke fail.
Hey, I'm cool now.
And he says that too, like he knows that fucking joke fell flat, like he knows it didn't work. But
listen to this. Listen to this real quick.
Lines.
This is Fred Wolf. Drunk Parents, Joe Dirt 2, Grown Ups 2, Grown Ups 1, Strange Wilderness. Woo! Yeah. I Want Candy, Without a Paddle, Dickie Roberts, former child star, Joe Dirt.
Bunch of trash.
And, I mean, Dirty Work. I like Dirty Work. Dirty Work's good. So I'll give Fred Wolf a pass on that. But those are all written by Fred Wolf, and generally 9 out of those 10 are trash. So, but he's made a lot of money. It's fucking fantastic. Congratulations, Fred.
Started out as a comedian.
I don't mean to trash because I know a lot of people like this, including my wife. She's like, it's just funny to me. It's just funny.
Oh,
Joe Dirt even. If I were to like try to centralize my complaint, it's the script is like, it's not like clever in any way at all. It's like just stupid. Like, I'm a fan of like some Fairley Brothers stuff. They're stupid, but like I could never write like that well, even for a really stupid comedy. You know what I mean? This is just like just dumb shit happening that's not like smart, like even in the way that it's written.
Well, growing up where we grew up, though, I'm laughing at a lot of these characters because there were people like all the car stuff and like Auto Trader. Like these people were everywhere at the high school we went to, and we used to make fun of them. I admit it, and I would still make fun of them. I don't get this car obsession culture. I never have. I never will. And it's just so ingrained. So I probably laughed at the people more in this movie when I was younger, and now I'm just like, yeah, that's probably how people are. But if that's how they want to live, I'm not as like. I was probably a little more hardcore on the laughing at them than 20 years ago than I was now. I'm like, people want to live their life away. Who cares? So,
I mean, do we have to talk about like, because clearly this is like Southerner culture, like hillbillies, like probably Republicans and all that. So I don't know how much we want to get into the weeds about this. Comes out nowadays. Is it all just like a bunch of MAGA hats and all this other shit, or is it just innocent in its depiction of just like silly Southern people?
I mean, I find it pretty innocent. I mean, like I like
stays out of it.
Yeah,
I don't think, I like about it.
I don't think it would touch political stuff. It might, like it's funny because I mean it's dealing with a lot of other kind of tropes and issues and stuff. I mean, but so playfully and casually that like you can't, even if it like if you thought maybe it was trying to make some sort of statement, you'd be like, no, it's not. It's just it's just stupid.
When Brandy says, "Oh, I only have enough money for one extra Dairy Queen Blizzard," that was funny. I could see that happening. Like, she's paying Joe's way, and he still doesn't. It's so funny. That's so. I mean, his cluelessness it's somewhat charming. I will say. I will give him that. And Spade pulls that off. I will give him credit for that. Absolutely.
He pulls off the character. I mean, like it's a fairly unique and iconic character, and it's not just the wig that's doing that.
No, it's very quotable movie. It's a definitely like there were drops I could take from this film that I would play because they fly. They're funny. There's quick little bits here in this movie where you laugh. You're like, whistling bungholes, Husker do's, Husker don'ts. That's funny. I still say that. Okay. I love that. But
so
overall,
I'm sorry, Mike, but the picture is directed by Denny Gordon, female TV director, mostly just a ton of television. And that's another thing. Well, I can appreciate that. I do wish if they got somebody a little more experienced behind the camera, like your Penelope Spheris or your Tom Shadyac or someone that's a little bit more familiar with film comedies, because this does kind of feel like a TV show to me, like mild humor you'd see on like a scripted series, just one like kind of sitcom joke or situation after another.
Well, I mean, like, I don't expect like the work of, say, Spielberg or something. It's just like, you could almost anyone could have done this. It didn't need to be like overly polished, but point taken. I guess.
Oh, she directed Crossroads, Dawson's Creek, by the way, Eric, episode 1, 1998. Did you catch
I thought you were talking
about
the Britney Spears feature with Anson Mount.
Look, I mean, let's make this happen. What else can we say about this film? Let's Eric, you go first because we know exactly where you stand. So just get it out of the way. But unmute yourself first. Yeah, take your time.
I got it. I'm really glad that a lot of people enjoy this movie, and I can see the charm, especially if you grew up with it. It's quotable. It's stuff with stuff just to make you happy and entertain you. But for me, at this point, it's impossible for me to say that it holds up. It's just kind of clumsily directed and sloppy. The script is just stupid. It's not like actually cleverly funny. So for me, sorry fellas, but it doesn't hold up for me. But I'm kind of glad I saw it so now I know my opinion on it. So that's all I can say.
There you go. That's all you have to say, bud.
That's all you had to say. Who's next? You want to go? You want me to go? What do you want to do?
Go ahead.
This is a film that has some funny moments, and then there's some things where you're like, I don't know. We don't really need that in film anymore. We could say goodbye to that. And the repeatability, the rewatchability of it is definitely there. I could see that. And if it's a part of your routine, if you watched it when it came out within a year, a couple years, and it grabbed hold of you, is there a single black person in this film?
I honestly don't think so.
If we have
I mean, like in the background and like that kind of stuff. Yeah, there's extras, but like there's like it's an all white cast and then Adam Beach.
Exactly. That's so in that sense, not that every movie has to represent everybody, but come on. I mean, especially for all the traveling this guy does, never runs into one black person across America. Good God, man. I mean, that's pretty bad. And I know this is a stupid ass comedy. I get that. Don't come at me or send us an email and say, hey, you don't get it, man. It's just a stupid comedy. Just chill out. Well, Travis brought it to the table to be analyzed and looked at. So if we're going to look at it, I'm going to be honest about it. And I've seen this movie many times like Travis has. And at times I laugh and at times I'm just like, whatever. And, sometimes I find myself fast forwarding through parts. So
fast forwarding through a movie?
Really?
Must be a very busy man.
Only a few parts. Not as many in this. It's not even that long a movie. So, and in the end, I'd probably say this movie does not hold up. But I can understand why you'd want to watch it, enjoy yourself at times. But I can also see, like, why would I want to watch this piece of shit? This could be a total waste of time. I don't care. I have no connection to it. I have no nostalgic factor whatsoever. So I don't care what you think. I'm not going to watch this film. This movie doesn't hold up, and I could see why.
All right. So, as I said at the onset here, this was something that I watched a lot, and I'm glad that I have gone back to rewatch it because it's sometimes it's kind of like a little time capsule to see who you were at 21 versus who you are at 40, or at least like what strikes you differently now, et cetera, et cetera. And that's part of what I think that's why I picked the movies, because I've kind of gotten to where, as we've gone on with this show and try to figure out like how we're doing it, I used to kind of pick movies that I love, but more and more, I'm not really interested in doing that because I already know I love the movie. I'm more interested in bringing on movies that I loved and seeing how I feel about them now. And this was one that I loved. I just loved this movie so much. I thought it was stupid, but funny. And most of all, as I've said, had heart. And I watched it, the other night, and I laughed at many points. And ultimately, the homophobic thread that just constantly weaves through this movie, it takes away so much for me personally. To just, I get the context, but like, if you watch this movie a bunch back in the day and you have like fond memories of it and the quotes in your head, just carry on with those and enjoy them. You don't need to go back and rewatch it because this movie does not hold up. And there we go. Joe Dirt. I have a place for it in my heart, and it still makes me laugh. I will probably watch it at least once more in my lifetime, inshallah. But it's not something that needs to be revisited.
There it is. From the guy who chose the movie. Yeah, he took a chance. He called it a wild card, and it was a new experience for us. This is definitely a different film, and we all took it to heart. We all tried. So that's it. If you feel differently, you can let us know. You can go to our Facebook page or tweet at us at Cinema9Pod. We're out there. We're available. We are now taking applications for these pendant keychains.
Yeah, I mean, I'm proud of us. It'd be very easy for especially you two to be like, listen, it's given me so much joy over the years. Put it on and just have fun. But the fact is, it's stupid. It's so dumb.
It can be stupid. I knew it was going to be stupid. If I just thought it was stupid, I would say it held up. Yeah. And if I just thought it was stupid and funny, I would say that it held up. But to me, it was the heart that made the movie like ultimately what it is, and recognize the rot in it now. Again, regardless of the era, like it just makes it hard to watch.
There it is. That's it. That's Joe Dirt. The Joe Dirt episode. Does it hold up or not? A clean sweep of it does not hold up. If you disagree or you think we're being too harsh on the film, let us know. Reach out to us. Give us your feedback. We'd welcome a 5-star rating on Apple Podcast if you wouldn't mind. If you have an iPhone, all you got to do is go to your podcast app on the phone and click 5-star rating, 5-star review. That'd be wonderful.
That's the kind of feedback we're most interested in.
Yes.
You're like, give us our
True.
feedback, especially a 5-star rating.
Yes. Yes, that'd be wonderful. Please don't give us a 1-star rating. I don't know if Eric can handle it, and I don't want anybody to feel that way. Eric's working hard. He's put in his time on the show. We got our 1-year anniversary coming up, guys. We're a couple weeks away here. So we're getting excited about that. We have the movie that we will do. We've already decided, and we will reveal that in the coming weeks as we draw closer to April 8th, I believe, is the show. The
52nd episode, whatever it is.
Yeah, April 8th, I believe, is the air date. So we'll look forward to that, and we'll take a moment. We got the Academy Awards coming up. So next show, I believe, we can talk about the nominations, correct? Monday?
Yeah. April 8th, barring any colostomies.
Right.
Or colostomies or anything.
Well, we rescheduled it for 23rd, which is a Tuesday, so hopefully it shouldn't interfere with our movie schedule. And I do appreciate everybody being reasonable. I want to say thank you to Travis and Eric for being accommodating. Good host as always. Good friends as well. Not too bad. Better friends than host. I don't know. Maybe.
Possible. Do we hold up?
Yeah. Let's do that. We should start another podcast where we analyze all of our friendships each week. This week, does it hold up? Eric Branchman's friendship.
I mean, we had a lot of laughs, sure, but the fact is, I mean, I live in Indiana now. I mean,
all right, let's cut the shit. Eric Branchman, it's your turn to choose a movie for next week.
We had a lot of fun this past week, and I like the fact that the show is getting a little bit more relaxed. I don't have to think of like these grandiose, like critical darlings to come to the table with. We can step back and have a little bit of fun. And with spring in the air, the sun shining, I thought we'd have a little bit more fun and dip our toes into something I probably wouldn't normally choose. So I'm going back a ways. After RoboCop and Batman '89, there weren't a lot of intellectual comic book type properties up for grabs, so you didn't really have your share of like superheroes or even like fun cartoonish anti-heroes to look forward to seeing in movies. You'd have the Shadow and like the Phantom a few years after something like Batman '89, and even Blade would pop up before the whole Marvel deals started to get signed. So when this film came out, I would watch it constantly, and it's been about 25 years. But we're going to take a look at 1999's Darkman, the Sam Raimi film starring Liam Neeson and Frances McDormand.
Okay,
I never saw it.
I watched it a few months ago.
Really?
I think it. Yeah, I talked about it on the show at the time. I think.
Yeah,
but,
you did. Yeah.
But I think it can be further explored. I'm into it.
Well,
Okay.
I've never seen it, so I'm looking forward to finally watching it. I like Liam Neeson. Sam Raimi has done a few good things here and there.
He's a director.
All right. Well, this is we're getting some deep cuts here. This is fun. I mean, I think Darkman was a pretty popular movie that year anyways.
Yeah, it was huge.
Yeah. I remember why do I mess up Darkman with something else? I feel like there's another movie.
Do you mix it up with Darkman 2, Die Darkman Die?
Probably
or Darkman
not.
3, The Return of Durant.
Oh no, yeah.
Nah.
I might have them reversed. I think Darkman 2 was Return of Durant. I never saw any of the sequels. I don't think we
Me
need
neither.
to.
No one did.
Darkman, Mad City. I don't know.
City
Dark
Hall.
City.
They're all very similar.
Cool World. Is that what I'm thinking of? Yeah.
Yes, that's what you're thinking of. You're thinking of Bebe's Kids. Bebe's
Yes,
Kids.
that is what I'm
Kids.
thinking of. Bebe's.
totally
I would
Bebe's
love
Kids.
to see that movie. I haven't seen that in a long time. All right, Bebe's Kids next week. Stay tuned. We're going to find out whether it holds. No, we're doing Darkman. Eric Branchman has selected Darkman, so please join us. So we have a little bit of a shorter time frame here because we only have 5 days to watch it. So I hope we can all squeeze in a movie in 5 days, but I believe that it can be done. Thank you, all of you. Thank you to Russell Withers for the wonderful gifts. Keep on bringing those.
Thanks, buddy.
Unfortunately, if you use Bully clips, though, Travis is not going to watch Bully any sooner. So if you want him to watch that, use
a Russell
some different
exemption,
movie.
maybe from here out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have to show it on the screen necessarily. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for listening. And that's it. We will talk to you guys next week.
Is it done? How much is in there?